Okay. Good evening, welcome. Tonight's halacha shir is entitled Bracha Achrona on hot drinks. I don't know if you ever thought about this, but and I don't know if you drink hot drinks, but what is the story? If you have a coffee, you have a tea, a hot chocolate, you make a shahakal, of course, beforehand, but do you make a bracha achrona after a hot drink? So this we'll see. It's a very interesting topic. Let's take a look through. If you're listening online, please email me at j.golker@gmail.com. I'll send you the handout. The background halacha is this. It's a Shulchan Aruch in Siman Reish Yud in Archaim in Hilchos Brachas. The Mechaber says, Ha'oichel pachos mikazais min hapas, bein misha oichlim. A person eats less than a kazais of bread or any food, v'hasheise pachos miravias bein miyayin bein misha mashkim, or a person drinks less than a revius of wine or other drinks, mavarich techila bracha haruya la'isa hamin, he makes the appropriate bracha beforehand, ula'achrov eina mavarich klal, but he doesn't make a bracha afterwards. So the Shulchan Aruch is very clear that if a person eats even a small amount or drinks a small amount, you have to make a bracha beforehand, but a bracha achrona is only made if you have either a kazayas of food or a revius of drink. A kazayas of food is not very much. I always think a small matchbox, which is small. Or when it comes to revius, you're talking, imagine a little paper cup, and it's a quarter, a third of that. So it's quite small. So, but if a person has a small amount to drink or just fancies a little nibble, a nash, you need to make a bracha rishona on any amount, and a bracha achrona only if you've had a kazayas for food or a revius for drink. Now the Mishnah Berurah explains, if you look in Sifkat and Gimel in the next box, mavarich techila va'afilu al kol shehu, even on a tiny amount, bein midav oichel bein mimashke, whether it's drink or food, the asa lehonos min mazeh below bracha. That's the theory. The theory is you're not allowed to benefit from this world without a bracha, and therefore even a small amount requires a bracha. Then ula'achrov, so how come la'achrov you have to have a minimum share? So the Mishnah Berurah explains, to be plus, when it comes to bread, halaksiv v'chalta v'sovato v'erachta. You have to eat, you have to be satiated, and then you make a bracha achrona, then you bench. Ve'en achila b'chol ha'torah mipachos mikazayis. And there is never really, eating less than a kazayis is not called eating in the Torah. Or v'shad dvarim kashetiknu chazal bracha achrona ke'ein zeh tiknu. And therefore, less than a kazayis, because that doesn't constitute eating. Anything less than that, Chazal said, even though we're making bracha achrona on non-bread items, other things, you need at least a kazayis. Of a mashkin nami, and so too with drinks, kadashkon ba'alma in shtias mashkin asurin, when it comes to drinking prohibited drinks or liquids, the chiyuv of a revius, for example, a person drank a revius of blood. In order to be chayiv, you have to have a revius. That's considered the minimum share when it comes to liquids. They instituted with this share a share of a revius. Now, what is the problem with hot drinks? Because you're drinking it slowly. So the question is, if you drink, the way to drink coffee, tea, whatever it is, whatever hot drink, is you sip it, you have it slowly. It's too hot to just drink it quickly. And therefore, the question is, do you sort of combine together the small sips that you have to make it into a revius, to necessitate a bracha achrona? So the Mishnah Berurah says in Sifkat and Aleph there, at the end of this siman, at the end of this Sifkat, ule'inyan shtias revius im shasa v'hifsik ma'ad. If a person drank, he sipped a bit, v'chaza v'shasa, and he continued drinking, ad shehishtem revius, until eventually he drank a total of a revius. Yesh oimrim de'ena mitzdaref. It just doesn't work. You're sipping. That's not considered a drinking of a revius. V'yesh oimrim the mitzdaref lo shesham etchila hashtia tzoif hashtia yos michtei achilas pras. So long as he drank it, within the ktei achilas pras, which ranges from 2 to 3 to 9 minutes, different opinions. So different opinions whether or not you join them together. One opinion says you don't join them together, and one opinion says you do, so long as it was b'chtei pras, you drank it in that time frame. V'hagra hiskim sham, the biur the halacha kadeh zu hashniya, that the halacha is like the second opinion, namely that you do combine it so long as you drank it in the share of kadeh pras. Now, says the next Mishnah Berurah, v'hinei le'inyan shtias tei v'coffee. Do you see how he spells it? Isn't it cute? Tes hey ayin and coffee is Kuf Aleph Pei Ayin. When it comes to drinking tea and coffee, Sha'derech Lishteisa K'Shulcham, when the way of drinking is to drink it hot, V'kasha Lishteisa B'loi Hefsik, and you don't drink it, B'loi Hefsik, K'derech Shamash, it's not like a glass of water or Coke that you drink it in one go. Ki'im ma'at ma'at, yesh machleikas Rabbi ben ha-poiskim. There's a big machleikas in the poiskim in tzorech levarich bracha achrona, whether you need to make a bracha achrona. B'machs ha-shekel v'chay adam et sadim shaloi levarich v'chein kolso b'derech chayim v'chein hu minhag ha'olam. So the Mishnah Berurah concludes that the minhag ha'olam is not to make a bracha achrona on hot drinks. But, says the Mishnah Berurah, v'anshe ma'isa, men of stature, nagim, shele b'soif shtiyoson, when they have a coffee, manichin kadei shir revius. At the end of the cup of coffee, they leave, the last bit, the last revius, she stanein ma'at, that is a little bit cooler. Kadei sheyuchel l'shteis revius b'lei hefsek, that you can drink a revius in one go. Ulevarich bracha achrona, and that will enable you to make a bracha achrona. V'tov lasas kein kadei lotzes alibedu kula am v'prat l'das hagra hanal, and certainly according to the Vilna Gaon we mentioned earlier, the posak kadei shnia da hashiu kadei achilas praslin sirif gam b'shtia bevadei noch lasos kein. So the Mishnah Berurah says that in practice the minhag ha'olam is not to make a bracha achrona. However, anshe ma'isa, people who are very particular about halacha, will leave a little bit over and then would drink that in one go, and therefore they can make a bracha achrona. And I remember as a kid in school, one of my rebbes, Rabbi David Rowe, would always do that with his coffee. He would bring in coffee to share, and then he would leave over the bottom third, quarter, whatever of his cup, and it would cool down exactly what the Mishnah Berurah is saying over here, and then drink it in order that he would make a bracha achrona. So that's what I remember, and this is the source for it. Now, what is the contemporary practice? The Mishnah Berurah, although he wrote the Mishnah Berurah well over 100 years ago now. He died in 1933, but he wrote the Mishnah Berurah in the early 1900s. So he says the minhag ha'olam is not to. But what do contemporary poskim say? What is the contemporary practice? So in the Shevet HaLevi, Rav Vosner, who passed away only a few years ago, he says the following: HaPoskim achronim donu kan. This is paragraph 4. Be'inyan bracha achrona al kais chamin, on a hot drink, v'shein tfei meshir vis, and they drink it slowly, so that it's gonna, they're drinking and they wait longer than the shir vis or shir achilas pras, machmas roiv chomer, because it's just too hot to drink quicker than that. V'yodua, the pligi bozer gedoli haderis I'm behetiv kan. If you check out the behetiv, he'll give you the lists of who says what. However, my teachers have the practice to make a bracha achrona on hot drinks. So Kamesha Kosa B'Shuvas Panamei Iris in Chelik Beis of Adas Mogon Hamarsham, etc. The Kain Noagu Hagonim Baal Shel Meishev Baal Minchas Chinuch. They all say that you should make a bracha on hot drinks. Now, Shlomo Zalman in Halichas Shlomo, he says it actually in two places, but this is one of the places. Va'al Kafei Gamkein Mutar LaHavdil. He's talking about Havdalah. So in a situation where you haven't got grape juice or wine, you use Chamar Medina, which means the local beverage. So the question is, can you make Havdalah on coffee? And sometimes you're in a situation where you haven't got grape juice. Last Friday night we had a knock on our door in the middle of the meal, beginning of the meal. Our neighbors come in and they haven't got any grape juice, right? And we all have this from time to time. So what happens on a Havdalah? You're in a hurry, when you make Havdalah, neighbors not around, whatever. You can't, but what do you do? You're away. So can you make it on coffee? So says the Mishnah, says the Shlomo Zalman, "V'al coffee gamkein mutar lahavdil." You're allowed to make havdalah on coffee. V'af hoyeroy liyos adiv tvei mebira. In a way, he says it's better than making it on beer. Why? Ki hu mamish chamar medina. It's more chamar medina than beer. He said. When you have someone come around for pops into you, what do you say to them? You don't say, "Do you want a beer?" You say, "Do you want a coffee? A tea, a coffee?" Maybe I'm mixing in the wrong circles. But normally you just say, do you want a coffee or do you want a tea or something? And but the problem is, says Rav Shlomo Zalman, that you've got a problem. Can you drink it in the necessary time? So, in the footnote in Hara 28, in the bottom box there, he says, "U'le'inyan bracha achrona, ayin Mishnah Berurah Siman Reish Yud Sifkot Aleph," which is the above Mishnah Berurah. when you drink it slowly, minhag kamali lugma b'basachas ha'ilm shel levarach achrov. The minhag is not to make an upper bracha achrona. Va'anshe ma'aser nagin shel b'sof shtiyos manichin kedei shir revius she'sanim ma'at ein sham. So he brings this Mishnah Berurah above that although the minhag is not to make it, his practice is to follow what the Mishnah Berurah said, i.e., to leave a little bit until it's cooler and then to drink that last little bit in one go so that you can make a bracha achrona. Now, turn over the page. V'ayin oid shmir Shabbos kilchas u'perek nundalet ha'arat tzadivov. V'chein noag Rabbeinu lechatchila kederech anshe ma'aser. That was Rav Shlomo Zalman's practice, that he would leave over a little bit of the drink to fulfill the advice, if you like, of the Mishnah Berurah to enable him to make a bracha achrona. Avol kamaduma. However, he only left over a shir of a moli lugmov, which is not so much. And when he drank during shir, everyone gets thirsty when they talk and give shir, b'yeshiva in kol Torah, he would bring 2 cups in with him to shir. And by the time he got to the second cup, it was already cool. And therefore he would be able to fulfill the eitzah of the Mishnah Berurah. But even if he didn't leave it over, he would still make a bracha achrona. And when he was asked about this, his Rabbi, Rabbi Zalman Meltzer, the father-in-law of Baron Kotler, the famous Rabbi Zalman Meltzer, he goes, that's how he used to do it. V'shalu al kach v'omar, and they asked him about it, and he would say, shehischel lino kain mipnei sheshoma mehagriz, that he heard from the brisker of, shekein nohag oviv hagrach, that his father, the Reb Chaim, would do the same, and he was the rabbi of the God Rabbi Zalman Meltzer, so Reb Chaim was his Rebbe's Rebbe. V'lochein hu noye kain achrov, and therefore he did the same. That was his practice. He did this for himself. So in other words, that although Rav Shlomo Zalman himself did make a bracha achrona, he advised his family and others to follow the Mishnah Berurah, who says that the minhag olim is not to make a bracha achrona if you're just sipping slowly. But if you can, the best thing to do is just to leave over a little bit of coffee or hot tea or whatever it is at the end, which is cooled a little bit, that you could drink it in one go and therefore make a bracha achrona. One final point, this is all in respect of hot drinks. But what about ice cream? Because, imagine an ice lolly. Again, the minhag olam is you eat it slowly. Okay, some kids bite into it. But generally speaking, ice cream or ice lolly is better. You're going to sort of suck them slowly. So how does that work with the bracha achrona on ice cream? So if you take a look in paragraph 5, this is a footnote in the Dirshu Mishnah Berurah in Reishut, and he's got a paragraph about ice cream. The same is true regarding ice cream. People generally eat it slowly, in a longer period of time, because it's very cold. And according to the opinion which says that you can make a bracha achrona even though you're just eating it, or so you're drinking that hot drink very, very slowly, because just that's the way you drink a hot drink. So too with frozen liquids such as ice lollies and ice cream, you can only drink it very slowly, or eat the ice cream or the ice lolly very slowly. He would say that according to, just like there are those who say that if you drink the hot drink slowly, because that's the way you drink hot drinks, and therefore you would make a bracha achrona on that. Well, so too when it comes to ice cream, it's just the way to eat it is just to have it slowly, and therefore you can make a bracha achrona on the ice cream. So it will be subject to the same machlokus. But with regards to the hot drink, like we said, the Mishnah Berurah's suggestion is not to make a bracha if you just drank it slowly, sip by sip. But the best thing to do, although there are others who say the opposite, and they say you do, so there's machlekes about that, but the best eight is to follow the Mishnah Berurah's advice, and that is to leave a little bit over, drink that in one go, and then for sure you can make a bracha achrona there.
Does this apply with water as well?
Drinking water, there's debate about that, but generally speaking, the minhag ha'olam is to make a bracha achrona on water. But there is debate about that generally. But the minhag ha'olam is, again, to drink it. But normally water, if it's cold water, you drink enough. It's not a revius is not enough. It's not a huge amount. So generally speaking, you do need to make a bracha achrona for that. Okay.